GM. Today, I know, you might not have been expecting this. Markets are closed. Why am I recording another video? Well, it's very simple. I was thinking about it yesterday and I was going, right, I want to post every day, but what can I possibly post Saturdays about? I mean, it's not markup day, or if it would be my markup day on Saturday, Sunday would be excluded. So I came up with this idea of Saturday trade talks, where I share some lessons that I've learned throughout the week that you could take away from what I've learned. Because you have to remember, I do this and then I listen to these endless podcasts, and I read books and all this different stuff, and I take different lessons away from it. And so hopefully this is something that could benefit you, and just instead of watching perhaps, me marking up some screens, maybe you just want to listen to me talk about some lessons that I learned this week. But anyways, I digress. So on today's topic, we have 3 different ones, and we are going to discuss each one in not fairly long detail. I don't want to take up 25 minutes of your time. Plus, this is all that is really animated on my screen. So there's not much I can say. Maybe I'll add like Subway surfers in the corner here just to keep you guys focused. But other than that, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But this is going to be all right. The first lesson, which was taken by a podcast that I was listening to, and it was recorded like 2 weeks ago with Alex FX. And he basically talked about, and I've experienced this myself, right? The insanity of trading, really. I mean, when you think about it, you have a sector, or no, I wouldn't say sector, industry where people are trying to get in, and if you try to verbally explain it to somebody, it sounds like insanity, pretty much. It sounds pretty close to being, insane. So if you go up and somebody asks, "Oh, what do you want to be?" and you say a trader, and they ask you, "Well, what is that?" And you go, "Well, what I try to do is I look at price movement on a visually represented chart of price movement of people, billions of, currencies being sold, or billions of dollars or yen or whatever it could be being sold on a daily basis between major institutions and banks. And a small part of that amount of transaction that doesn't really have any power at all are called retail traders. That's what I'm trying to be. And I'm trying to, not trying to predict, but I'm trying to spot patterns in this billions of dollars price market, and then take advantage of those patterns to the upside of where I win. But I don't know where the price is going. You don't really get any information. Nobody knows where that price is going except for institutions that might have, massive limit orders or buy orders, whatever it could be. They can kind of control it, so they have some idea of what's happening, and they have also tools and stuff. But you as a trader, you just kind of, it's not guessing, but you just try to get the probability to your favor. And then the obvious response will be, for people who have no idea what you're talking about, like, "Oh, so it's technically gambling." And you're like, well, it's a little bit more advanced than gambling, but technically, if very basic of it, yeah, it is. From my understanding, it's just that, and it's an incredibly, complicated concept, and you have to be slightly insane to believe it, right? So when you think about it in logical terms, it doesn't make any sense. So when you want to be a trader, you have to be slightly insane, in my opinion. It's just, you have to have that belief that, yeah, this is something I can do. I'm going to spend the amount of chart time. I'm going to be able to do this, because for most other things, like service, for example, it makes complete sense. I have something, now let's say, I don't know, you have a cookie business and you sell cookies. well, the value was exchanged when somebody comes up to you and says, I want one cookie. You have a cookie, you change, you get money from it. That's the profit of $2 that you make. Congratulations, you've made something. You've contributed to the overall society here, and you provide a value to the marketplace. But this one is, it's just so complicated with the amount of, not guesswork, I wouldn't say guesswork, but it's just, yeah, I don't know, it's just, I would guess it's maybe guesswork. I don't know, you know, but it is quite the same. But I don't want to work on this for like 10 full minutes. So I'm just going to talk about that and say that, stay working, just keep having faith in yourself, keep believing that it's possible, and you will succeed. That's basically what I got from the podcast. Right, second point. This one I've learned myself over the course of 2 years, and I believe it's a really, really, really important factor to stay motivated, right? Because again, you have to be insane to want to trade, and you have to be even more insane to stay trading, right? Especially when you're going through that shit period where you're not making any money, you're losing all your money, or you're very, very close to breaking even, and you're not making any quote unquote significant progress as far as your P&L goes, right? So, my point was basically that you should do other things while you're trading. Now, what do I mean by that? Usually, you have to get a job while you're trading because you have to keep depositing capital, right? You can do dollar trading. So, if you live with parents and you're young, if you get $50, that could last you a very long time. I would say, like, if you go to a Wanda, you can trade with like cents on the Forex. No other broker that I know of can do that. So if you have like $2 in your account, you could deposit a trade or two trade or three trade, depending on how much you obviously need to put up for margin and etc. But anyways, besides the point of, you should do other things while you're learning to trade. So let's say that you somehow managed to save up $30,000 and you got your expenses paid for the rest of the year. You should still do other things. You shouldn't be spending 8 hours. You just decide, oh, I'm gonna spend a year learning how to trade. By the end of the year, I'm gonna be profitable. If you just sit in your, in your office or in front of the PC all day, every day for 8 hours, yeah, you might learn something, but you're gonna be a little bit, in my opinion, lost in the sauce, because if 1 year later you still haven't made any money, well, you're probably going to give up on training altogether. You're like, well, I gave this 8 hours every single day, maybe 12 hours every single day. I didn't do anything except for that. I just ate, slept, and lived and breathed trading. I agree that that's what you should do, but it's also a slight part to that where you should definitely be training every day, because in the sense, like, let's say you do the full year. If you come out the year strong as you've ever been, if you spend every single day training, and you know, and you're just improving yourself every day, you look at the mirror, you're like, oh, I might not be making money, but I'm still, I'm still strong as Knox, or you're getting there, or you're bulking, or you're cutting, or anything, and at least you see some visual progress, and it tells you, it kind of flips the script and says, well, I know that this took me a long time. Let's say it takes you 6 months to get jacked from being a skinny dude to, I don't know, 80 kilos, and you're now getting jacked. That took 6 months. And maybe you haven't made any money while you're trading, but you're still jacked. So, I remember I did that. I had a 6 month period where I was like, yeah, I'm just going to breathe, live, trading, and nothing. And I just didn't become profitable out of it because you kind of too lost in the sauce. And you don't see any visual progress, and then you just give up on everything together. I remember when I finished the 6 month period, I had like 3 months where I didn't even touch the charts. I love trading still, but like I was like, no, I guess it's not for me. Yeah, that was another point. So how you should do other things while learning to trade. And then the third thing, so to keep it all, trying to keep it less than 15 minutes here, just for a quick, you know, trade talk here, is consistency. Now, obviously, you've heard this a million times from everyone, but whenever I listen to someone who's very successful in their industry, every single time they say consistency. Consistency beats talent every single time. A lot of people might be talented in spotting patterns, but if they don't, show up more than a day a week, are they really going to be? How good could they possibly be? Right? Or I got a really good analogy from someone about this, which was if you're trying to boil water and you put it underneath the fire and you light the fire for 3 seconds and then turn it off, and then 10 seconds later you turn it on for 3 seconds and then turn it off, and you do that over and over again, it'll probably take you a long time for that water to boil because it's not building up any momentum. But if you keep it on, the water will boil way faster. The thing is, it doesn't just immediately boil. It takes a long time, and then something like that, then it boils because it's reaching a threshold. I think that's where most people fail, and I'm trying not to get into that area myself. I've been there. I've done that. You've been to the point where you're like, you just keep trying and nothing's happening. But loads of stuff is happening behind the scenes every time you do. I don't know, you spend 2 hours back testing and you're just trying to get the perfect entry and all this different stuff. And loads of stuff is happening in the back. You're becoming a better trader. You're doing great things. But visually, on the outside, it's not looking any different. It's like trying to break a wall down. When you hit it, some structure is going to fall, but the wall doesn't break until the very last 2 or 3 throws or punches or anything. It breaks on that. With those two, which doesn't mean that the 2 to 3 punches wasn't as powerful or more powerful than the punches before that. It was just, there was a threshold, and then finally when it broke. So yeah, that was another, thing that I want to talk about. So I can actually paste these here, make the screen maybe a little bit more interesting. Let's see, we've got these 3 here. So boom, boom. I had another thing I was thinking about, which was, no, I do know actually. I had a thought which was on building on consistency. Whenever you listen to somebody who is successful in the industry, you never hear anybody, and I've listened to loads of people, you never hear anyone who didn't dedicate 3 to 6 years of their life to being a trader, or like at least 3 years to become profitable. And I think a lot of people, I don't know, listen to the TikTok people who are like, oh yeah, I'll make you profitable in 60 days, or I'll make you profitable in 30 days. And they might make money, but they're not going to be consistently profitable because they don't have that experience, right? So that was just a slight deviation of consistencies. Just keep working, keep doing what you need to do every single day, keep having a checklist, keep going through that, and just remember, if you keep doing this every single day, eventually you're going to win, because a lot of people aren't doing this. A lot of people aren't willing to put in the work of doing that. And with that, keeping it under 15 minutes here, I'm going to conclude this week's Trade Talks. And this is just going to essentially be the same thing on every Saturday. I'm just going to take the lessons I learned from this week and from listening to other people and just summarize to you in less than 15 minutes here. So thanks for tuning in here. I'll see you people tomorrow.